Picture this. You're sitting at your desk late at night, scrolling through your banking app. Your paycheck just hit. The numbers look good, maybe better than they've ever been. But somehow, it still doesn't feel like progress. You're earning more than you were a few years ago, maybe double, yet your account balance never seems to grow. The bills still sting, the stress still lingers, and there's always that small, anxious voice whispering, "Why does it still feel like I'm barely keeping up?" Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can make good money and still be poor. Not poor in the sense of missing meals or skipping rent, but poor in time, in margin, in peace of mind. Because real poverty isn't always visible. It's the financial version of treading water, a life that looks stable from the outside but feels exhausting underneath. See, poverty doesn't always start with low income. It starts when your habits, decisions, and assumptions quietly drain every dollar before it ever gets the chance to build stability. In this video, we're going to unpack that. 7 subtle signs that you might be quietly stuck in a financial loop, even if you're earning what most people would call good money. And by the end, you'll see that being rich isn't about how much you make, it's about how much peace you can afford to keep. Sign number 1, you always earn more, but never feel richer. You've probably noticed this strange pattern. Every time your income goes up, your expenses somehow rise to meet it. You get a raise, and suddenly your old apartment feels too small. You land a bonus, and within weeks, you've upgraded your wardrobe, your gadgets, maybe even your car. And at the end of the month, despite making more than ever, the balance in your account looks almost identical to before. That's not bad luck, it's lifestyle creep. It's the quiet, invisible tax that comes with every promotion. Each small upgrade feels harmless on its own, a little reward for your hard work. But stacked together, they quietly erase your progress. The truth is, wealth doesn't grow when you make more money. It grows when you keep more money. And the reason you never feel richer is simple. Your lifestyle expanded, but your margin didn't. Here's the test. If your standard of living improves every year, but your savings rate doesn't, you're not actually growing. You're just upgrading your cage. Because here's the thing about comfort. Once you taste it, you'll keep chasing more of it. Unless you draw the line on purpose. The people who quietly build wealth don't fight lifestyle creep with discipline. They fight it with decisions. They choose a lifestyle that fits their long-term goals, and then they let their money grow beyond it. You don't have to live like a minimalist, but if every raise becomes an excuse to spend more, you're not advancing. You're just getting better at standing still. Sign number 2, you treat debt like a tool instead of a burden. One of the biggest lies of modern finance is this: as long as you can afford the payments, you can afford the purchase. That line has trapped millions of people in silent poverty. Because what most people don't realize is that debt doesn't just cost you interest, it costs you freedom. Think about it. You buy the car, the furniture, the vacation, because you can manage the monthly payments. And for a while, it feels fine. You're comfortable, in control, maybe even proud of your credit score. But over time, you start to notice something. Every month already belongs to someone else. Your future income is pre-spent, promised to lenders, credit cards, and finance companies. You're working for things you already consumed. And that's the quiet definition of being poor. When your money never truly belongs to you. Yes, debt can be used strategically, but only when it's attached to assets that grow, not stuff that fades. A mortgage on a property that appreciates? That's leverage. A car loan for a vehicle that drops in value the second you drive it off the lot? That's just a slow leak dressed as progress. Debt convinces you that you're moving forward, when really, you're running on a treadmill, impressive motion, zero distance. The wealthy borrow to build, the poor borrow to feel better. And the moment you stop calling debt normal and start calling it what it is, a financial anchor, you'll finally start to rise. Sign number 3, your money has no job until it's spent. For most people, payday feels like freedom. That moment when your account balance finally looks healthy again before it starts shrinking. But here's the thing, if you don't tell your money where to go, it decides for you. And it almost always chooses the path of least resistance, spending. That's what keeps so many high earners broke. They work hard, make great money, and then watch it evaporate through small, constant, untracked decisions. The quiet truth is, wealthy people don't wait to budget after they've spent. They pre-assign every dollar before it even lands. It's not about being obsessive, It's about being intentional. Every dollar has a role. Some build security, savings, some build growth, investments, some buy freedom, margin, and the rest buy comfort. But when your money has no job until it's spent, comfort always wins, and everything else starves. That's why even a six-figure income can feel fragile. Because without structure, your money isn't working for you, it's just passing through you. Here's the mindset shift. You're not managing money, you're managing direction. When every dollar knows where it's going before you touch it, your finances start moving with purpose instead of emotion. That's the difference between having money and building wealth. Sign number 4. You define success by possessions, not position. You know that subtle rush you get when someone notices your new car, your watch, or the apartment with the skyline view? That's not pride. That's validation disguised as progress. Most people don't want to be wealthy. They want to look wealthy enough that no one questions them. And that's the trap. Because every dollar spent to prove something is a dollar you'll never see again. Every purchase meant to signal success quietly delays the real thing. You can own expensive things and still be financially fragile. You can live in a high rise and still lie awake at night, wondering how to cover next month's rent. You can look like you're winning and still be one emergency away from losing it all. Real wealth is invisible because it doesn't need to be seen to exist. It shows up as time, calm, and choice. It's the ability to walk away from a job, not the illusion of needing to show off one. Here's a quiet truth that wealthy people understand. The need to look rich is the fastest way to stay poor. When you start defining success by position, where you stand financially, how secure you are, and how much freedom you control, you stop chasing surface-level wins and start building depth. Because every shiny thing you buy to impress others is a down payment on your own delay. Sign number 5. You avoid looking at the numbers. You tell yourself you're just not a numbers person. You'll check your statements later. You'll look at your spending when things calm down. But later somehow keeps turning into never. You don't open the banking app until you absolutely have to. You pay your credit card, but never look at the total balance. You hope for the best, but deep down, you already know the truth. You're not managing your money, you're hiding from it. That's financial avoidance, and it's one of the clearest signs of quiet poverty. Not because you're reckless, but because you're afraid of what the numbers might reveal. It's easier to live in uncertainty than to face uncomfortable facts. But here's the thing. Avoidance doesn't protect you, it blinds you. Wealthy people look early and often. They check their balances, not because they're obsessive, but because awareness gives them control. Avoidance is emotional comfort. Awareness is financial power. Every time you delay facing the truth, you give up a little more control over your future. And the longer you stay blind, the harder it becomes to correct course. The quietly rich understand something simple. You can't improve what you refuse to measure. It's not about shame, it's about direction. Because once you finally face the numbers, even if they scare you, you'll realize you weren't avoiding failure, you were avoiding progress. Sign number 6. You believe earning more will fix everything. It's the quiet fantasy that keeps so many people trapped. If I just made a little more, all my problems would go away. And for a while, it feels true. You start earning more, and things do get easier. Bills don't sting as much, groceries don't stress you out, and maybe you even start saving a little. But a few months later, the same pressure creeps back in. The bills are higher, the spending has caught up, and somehow you're right back where you started, just with nicer stuff. That's the hidden cost of believing income alone can fix financial stress. The truth is, more money doesn't solve money problems. It amplifies them. If you can't manage $3,000 a month, you won't magically manage $10,000. You'll just make the same mistakes, on a larger scale. Wealthy people understand that money only multiplies what already exists. Discipline multiplies into wealth. Disorganization multiplies into chaos. It's not how much you make, it's how much of what you make stays. That's why the rich get richer. Not because they're lucky, but because they built systems that protect their income instead of reacting to it. So if every year you tell yourself, once I start earning more, I'll finally save, remember this. You're training your brain to postpone responsibility. And the moment you stop waiting for more money to save is the moment you start getting rich, quietly, steadily, and permanently. Sign number 7. You confuse comfort with security. You have a good job, a nice apartment, a steady routine that feels safe, predictable even. You tell yourself, I'm doing fine. And on the surface, you are. But deep down, you know something feels fragile. That comfort you've built, it's rented. It only lasts as long as your next paycheck, your current health, or your ability to keep up the pace. That's not security, that's dependence. See, comfort and security look almost identical until something goes wrong. Comfort is the nice car, the upgraded lifestyle, the sense that things are stable. Security is knowing you could lose your income tomorrow and still sleep through the night. Comfort ends where disruption begins. Security continues even when the world doesn't cooperate. Most people stop building when life feels comfortable. The wealthy keep going until they reach quiet independence. That invisible threshold where money stops being a monthly concern and starts being a lifelong ally. True security isn't the absence of struggle, it's the presence of options. It's the ability to make decisions without fear. So if your life feels good, but your peace depends on everything staying perfect, you're not secure. You're just comfortable in a fragile system. And the difference between those two determines how well you'll handle whatever comes next. You can make good money and still live broke. Not because you're careless, but because no one ever taught you the quiet rules of keeping it. Being poor isn't about income, it's about control. It's what happens when money moves faster than awareness. But the moment you start noticing these signs, you're already changing the story. Wealth doesn't start with earning more, it starts with keeping what you have and building a buffer between your income and your anxiety. If you're ready for that shift, watch next. How everything changes after you save $10,000. Because that's where financial calm actually begins.